The Grand Prix has not gone anywhere close to how I expected. I mean, literally almost everything that I was thinking was going to happen has not happened. And things that I was like, oh, that absolutely is not going to happen, have happened. So... Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ice Talk with Hannah. I apologize for not having a Skate Canada recap or a Grand Prix de France preview. I'm also not doing a Grand Prix de France recap. This is more going to just be kind of talking about the fact that we are halfway through the Grand Prix and where we stand. I had a very busy couple of weekends, and because of Peacock's, 2-day rule where you have 2 days to watch these events because of the whole copyright claim that happened over the Olympics, still kind of upset about that, but it is what it is. I was not able to watch everything. Skate Canada, I saw a majority of. I missed out on some of the free dance and maybe some of the men. I don't remember. I think Skate Canada, I got most of it, but then Grand Prix de France was a mess for me. I only saw women fully. Pairs, I did not see any of, short or free skate. Ice dance, I did not see the rhythm dance, and I only saw about half of the free dance. Men, I saw bits and pieces of. Women, I saw from start to finish in both events. But because of that, this is going to just be a where do we stand? We are halfway through. We have seen most of these competitors compete at least once. We have a few qualifiers already for the Grand Prix final. We have some withdrawals to go over. Just a lot of stuff that's been going on. So that's going to be what this episode is going to be about. And as always, I'm going to be focused heavily on the women, but I will get to all 4 disciplines. Women is the only discipline that I have seen all the skaters skate, all, 12 in each event, both short and free skate. So I have the most thoughts on that. I will spend the most time on this. However, I will get to all 4 disciplines in this episode. First things first, a very strong omedetou gozaimasu. That's congratulations in Japanese, by the way, to Wakaba Higuchi of Japan, who is the first official qualifier of the Grand Prix final. She took home the gold medal at Skate America and took home the silver medal at Grand Prix de France, earning her a total of 28 points, and mathematically she is in. There is no way that any skaters will be able to kick her out of that. Very excited for her. I've always been a big fan of hers, and I love this comeback story that she is on this year after a couple years of either not competing or just having a tough time. I'm loving the fact that her component scores are starting to grow, as they should be. And I'm looking forward to seeing what she can do at the Grand Prix final and maybe make a run for that world team, which, by the way, Japanese nationals is always stacked. But this year, man, with how these Japanese skaters are performing, Japanese nationals is going to be wild. I might just pull an all-nighter to watch that because it's going to be insane trying to decide who's going to Worlds this year for the Japanese skaters. But as Wakaba is a lock, there is a lot of other questions as to who is going to go to that Grand Prix final. So let's talk first about the U.S. women, because unfortunately, going into the Grand Prix, I thought it was going to be more strongly the U.S. women who would be at the Grand Prix final. I was thinking we could have even up to 4 competitors there. We are down to 1. After 3 events, we're down to 1 person who can make it to the Grand Prix final. And it's not the person that I would have expected being the lock, pretty much. So first, let's talk about who I thought was the obvious she will go to the Grand Prix final, and that is Isabella Vito. Now, as of me recording this, it is official that she has withdrawn from her second event in Finland, but she has not made any statement or post regarding the reason as to why. There is a lot of speculation that she could be injured or nursing a small injury, and that is the reason why Skate America was not exactly her absolute best performance there. There's also some speculation that she could be going through a coaching change, which I think is just a bad idea at this point. I agree she needs to change coaches, but the season before the Olympics is not a good time to do that. And with the U.S. skaters having a lot of strong skaters, she could chance not even making it to Worlds this year if she, really falters here. So I don't really know what's going on with her. I hope she is okay. I'm very sad for her because I think that she definitely still had a shot at winning her second Grand Prix. And if she was going to take home the gold, she would probably qualify for that final. But she is out of the running because she will only have that 11 points that she got at Skate America. I just wish her well and hope to see her in full health and slay at nationals. Elise Lynn Gracie is also out. She was a skater that I was a little bit hopeful heading into this Grand Prix, but she just didn't have her greatest skates at both Skate America and Skate Canada. She's definitely a skater with a lot of potential. However, I think Elise is a skater that really needs to ride on some clean programs. She's a beautiful skater and she has beautiful jumps when she is on. However, when she is not on, there is just she doesn't give me anything. She's just skating from jump to jump. You can tell she shuts down as soon as those jumps start to fail her. I would love to see her skate really well at nationals, but I think Elise is someone that maybe just needs a little bit more experience on that Grand Prix to gain that confidence to be able to skate the way she did at Nebelhorn. So we'll see her at nationals. We'll see what she can do. Brady Tennell is another skater who is out, finishing in 5th at her first event. She is competing this weekend in Tokyo at the NHK Trophy. However, even if she were to win this event, which is mathematically, I think, impossible because she's up against Kaori Sakamoto, who, even though she didn't have a great skate at Skate Canada, she's probably going to win this event still. Brady is just going to go to this event with hopes of building that confidence up some more. I could see her definitely still being on the podium depending on how it goes. However, first place is not possible. And even if she were to get first place, there would have to be a lot of crazy stuff to happen at the last 3 events in order for her to make that Grand Prix final. So she is also out of the running, meaning all 3 of our competitors from Skate America are out of the Grand Prix final because Isabeau, who was 3rd, is not competing at her second event. Brady, who is 5th, will not be able to take gold, and even then will probably still not qualify. And Elise Lynn Gracie came in 6th at Skate America and 7th at Skate Canada, so she is also completely out. Another skater that is out is Alyssa Liu. Unfortunately, she came in 6th at Skate Canada. I think she was very much lowballed in her component scores at Skate Canada, but I do think her free skate still needs a little bit of work. I definitely felt like her free skate is still a step in the right direction. I think she's way better than she was before she retired and then decided to come back. There's clearly way more love for the sport. There's a lot more refinement. Her short program, I love. Her free skate feels a little weak compared to the short program. I felt like I was kind of telling her to skate faster throughout the free skate at Skate Canada, but she ended up 6th. So again, she is also competing this weekend in Tokyo. She would have to win gold and then hope and pray for more things to happen. And gold is just, again, not really an option for her here. I would love to see her on the podium, maybe have a little bit less of an issue with those under rotations, maybe feel a little bit more relaxed now that she's done her first Grand Prix since her comeback. But we will see. I just want her to skate well, but she is also out of the running. Another skater who is out of the running is Sarah Everhart. Now, Sarah actually did skate 2 clean programs, and it is very important to note that Sarah scored a 196.94 at the Grand Prix de France, where she finished 5th. If she had scored that at Skate America, she would have actually taken home the gold by 1/100th of a point, because Wakaba Higuchi scored a 196.93 at Skate America, which was enough for gold. Sarah Everhart scored a 196.94 at Grand Prix de France, which was only enough for 5th place because of how much more competitive this event was. Sarah also could have won silver if she was at Skate Canada, because the 196 would have beaten out Rino Matsuike's 192.16. So obviously it's a little bit frustrating when you see those numbers. You know that some skaters would have placed way higher if they had just been at a different event that was a little bit less competitive. But unfortunately, because her first event was here in France that was just a little bit more competitive than the other 2, a 5th place here means that she is out of the running for the Grand Prix final as well. Now, her second event is Finlandia Trophy, where, you know what? It's not a totally completely wild statement to say that she could win there. She is up against Rino Matsuike, who I think will win that event, but you know, Reno also had a really tough short program at Skate Canada and would have won that event if she hadn't have done that. So it could be an interesting event. Sarah could honestly definitely win this event, or at least end up on the podium. But unfortunately, even a 1st and a 5th, like I've said, a lot of crazy things would have to happen for her to still end up at the Grand Prix final. So for the most part, I think she is also out, but I am very hopeful for her. I think her programs are okay. I think both her short and her free skate kind of show off the fact that she's just kind of out there skating as well. She doesn't give me any performance or any type of connection to that music. During her short program at Grand Prix de France, I was just yelling at her to smile the entire time. Girlie, you're skating to Riverdance. You're skating to the version that Jason Brown skated to that everyone absolutely loves and adores from 10 years ago. You gotta at least smile, especially when you skate clean. I love her jumps though. She looks really, really solid. She looks really, really confident. So I hope that with this confidence, she can just continue to work on that performance side of things, because I think that's just really affecting her in this case. We only have one U.S. skater who has not competed yet in the Grand Prix who will be competing this weekend in Tokyo, and that is Lindsey Thorngren. I'll be honest, she was the only one that I felt didn't really have a chance in the first place. She's up against some strong competitors, with her being up against Kaori Sakamoto here in NHK Trophy. Lindsey also, I do like her. I think she's capable of skating two clean programs. I just don't know if she's going to. She didn't have any really strong scores on Senior B events. She just kind of is a skater that could, but probably won't. But I could be eating my words. I'm predicting she will not skate well enough at her two events in order to qualify for the Grand Prix final. But stranger things have happened, and you just never know. That being said, it's all grim, it's all sad, it's all unhopeful for all the U.S. women. However, we do have Amber Glenn. Amber Glenn, oh, Amber. Okay. I have always enjoyed watching Amber skate. She is a skater who I think definitely, she takes a page. She takes a page out of Ashley Wagner's book, and she is a great performer. Her skating skills are decent. They're not particularly spectacular, but she is a great skater too. Amber, what she did at Grand Prix de France, honestly could lead her to a world title. If she's able to finally start to figure out how to not have complete meltdowns at events, she can start challenging for podiums at the world level and even the Olympics here next season. However, because we have 10 years of history of her not skating clean, and by not skating clean, I mean one or both of her programs being complete meltdowns, and she has literally no shot at being on podiums. I still cannot take these last two events that she's been in as a sign that she's going to be clean. First of all, because these skates still were not clean. The free skate here at Grand Prix de France was still a little bit iffy. She fell on her flip, and then she stepped out on the jump after that, which tells me that she still could be a skater that, if she makes a mistake halfway through, could still lead to a meltdown. Because what I would have liked to see is the fall on the flip, which kind of felt like a fluke fall. She landed and then caught her edge. I would have liked to see the jump after, which I believe was a sow. I think that's what she did afterwards. I'm not remembering off the top of my head. It was probably a loop or a sow. I would have liked to see her land that one perfectly, because I think it's still getting in her head when she's making mistakes. It just so happens that the mistake that she made in this program was late enough that it didn't mess with her too much. I am still very hopeful for her. If she can continue to throw out clean short programs with the triple axel and have decent free skates, she will definitely end up on the podium at Cup of China and then go on to the Grand Prix final. Her first Grand Prix final, I think she could be a shoo-in for winning nationals for her second year in a row, and be a possibility of being on that podium at Worlds in Boston, which would be great. Boston, last time it had Worlds, had a lot of magic with the U.S. women, because that's where Ashley Wagner ended the 10-year drought and won the silver medal almost 10 freaking years ago. I cannot believe that was so long ago. I am very hopeful for Amber. I am a big fan of hers. I just urge people to continue to be cautiously optimistic with her. That is what I am doing. I do not want to just assume that after one gold medal on Grand Prix de France, all of her problems are fixed that she's been having for 10 years, and she's going to just go out and skate clean programs, because I will believe it when I see at least a season of solid skating. But that being said, I still think nationals will be interesting, because this is still proven that there are a lot of names in the hat for being on that world team. I don't think anyone in the U.S. is guaranteed that spot. There's no one that I'm okay, you're obviously going to be going, because who knows? Amber feels like an obvious, okay, you're going to go to Worlds, but what if nationals is just an absolute disaster for her? What if Cup of China and from there on out? And I'm not trying to say this to say that I expect that to happen, but Amber has proven that she is a head case skater. having two competitions with like less mistakes does not prove that she is now a consistent skater. So I am cautiously optimistic for her. I really, really, really want to see her at Cup of China skate very well, go to the Grand Prix final, skate very well, be on the podium there, go win nationals, be on the podium at Worlds, and set herself up well for the Olympic season. Now that we've gotten all the grim of the U.S. women's performances so far, let's talk about the Japanese women, because they have been the powerhouse of the Grand Prix season so far, sweeping the podium at Skate Canada and being on two steps at the other two events. Skate America taking first and second, Skate Canada, like I said, taking all three, and Grand Prix de France taking second and third. So starting with, as I already said, Wakaba Higuchi has already punched her ticket with a first and a second. She will head to the Grand Prix final. Mathematically, there is no way to push her out. But let's talk about who else could be going. First, we have Rinko Watanabe, who was the silver medalist behind her at Skate America. She will not be competing again until Cup of China, so she is on the bookend. She was at the first one, she will be at the last one. And at Cup of China, she will be up against Ember Glenn. She will be up against Rion Sumiyoshi as well, and Mone Chiba, who has not competed yet this season. She will be in Tokyo this weekend, so I'm interested to see what she's going to do. Mone is the reigning Four Continents champion, but also did not even go to Worlds. So she's hot and cold. Don't really know what to expect out of her. I just have to wait and see how she does this weekend to really be able to talk about that. Rinka could definitely, she could win. She could win Cup of China. She could come in second. If she comes in first or second, she's pretty much guaranteed to go to that final. Well, first is a guarantee. Second is a pretty much guarantee. Third would be close. There would have to be a lot of calculating numbers going on there for me to be able to determine if she would go. She'll be looking for first or second. If she does that, she'll be heading to the Grand Prix final. Another skater that I think could easily end up at the Grand Prix final is Rino Matsuike, who finished second at Skate Canada with a glorious free skate. I'm not kidding y'all when I say her free skate is probably one of my favorites so far. I don't think y'all understand that forward outside edge that she did coming out of a series of counters and rockers with the control and the flow. The forward outside edge is the hardest edge to control in skating. It is actually, while it feels like it should be a simple thing to do, to just balance on one foot on your outside edge, getting that strong and controlled and being able to still generate speed while on that edge is so difficult. And that in itself is just a masterclass of skating skills that she just shows by that one simple thing that she is doing. And outside of that, just the ability to generate speed without doing a whole lot of extra steps, to be able to generate speed while still on one foot, doing series of turns. She is a gorgeous skater. Now, she is going to be competing in Finland, not this weekend, but the next. She is up against Hana Yoshida. She is up against Lindsay Thorngren and Sarah Everhart. She is up against Luna Hendricks is out. Isabeau is out. She could easily win this if she can just fix the problems that she had in the short program at Skate Canada. I think Finlandia Trophy is an easy win, so I think she will also be at the Grand Prix final. I did not know who she was prior to the Skate Canada. I had never really paid attention to her name at all, and let me tell you, I now know her name, and I am now a fan. Speaking of Hana Yoshida, who was third at Skate Canada, personally, as much of a fan as I am of her, I think she is just one of the Japanese skaters that is going to be shut out of the Grand Prix final. Third place is a strong finish. However, looking at Finlandia Trophy with her being up against her teammate Rino and being up against Sarah Everhart, who I think is going to still go clean there as well, I think the best that she has is going to be a bronze medal here as well. And 2 bronze is just not enough to be at that final. I can't think of a time when I saw 2 bronze medals be a Grand Prix final ticket. So that would not be enough. She would need a second at Finlandia to even have hope of that Grand Prix final. But I don't know if it's possible. It definitely is. Sarah is someone that is still a bit of an unknown and could make mistakes there. However, I'm betting on the fact that she will probably go out and skate clean, and this event is a little bit less stacked than Grand Prix de France, so Sarah, I think, is probably going to podium, could even win depending on if Reno has a tough short program again. We will see. But I think Hana is one of the ones that unfortunately is just going to miss out on the Grand Prix final because of where she lies right now. And then finally, of course, Kaori Sakamoto, who did not have her greatest of skates in the free skate at Skate Canada. In fact, it was kind of extremely rough, and she would not have even beat Amber Glenn at Grand Prix de France. She still has the second highest total score so far of the Grand Prix, so I think that she's still probably going to easily win in Tokyo. I think she's going to skate better in Tokyo than she did at Skate Canada. I could be wrong. Kaori has always been someone who tends to peak at Worlds and skate the cleanest there. I mean, if you just go back, not this past season, but the season before that, where she was the reigning world champion and she was heading for her second world title, she actually finished in last at the Grand Prix final. I think that was 2022 because of a rough skate. So Kaori has never been someone who is like absolutely going to skate clean. She's kind of wild and uncontrollable. I love her. I think she's a great skater. I personally am not the biggest fan of her free skate. I know that's a pretty widely accepted fact. I think her free skate just highlights her weaknesses, which is like her performance value and everything. Like, she is very fast, she's very strong, and she's very powerful. And skating to Chicago, I think there's just something that's not connecting in her head. I don't think she even understands the lyrics of the song. So I just don't think that this free skate was a good choice for her. And I think this season is going to be very telling, because I think this is a season where her being able to defend that world title is not guaranteed. And it never has been with her. She just tends to be the strongest competitor out there. But if Amber is getting her act together, like, she's definitely going to challenge Kaori for the gold at Worlds, which would be absolutely crazy. We haven't had a world champion from the US in 20 years. I can't remember off the top of my head last time we had a world champion, but which would be crazy because Japan is skating way better here at the Grand Prix, but Amber could be just such a light for the US skaters that she just challenges for that gold. Anyway, okay, I'm getting really deep in my thoughts here. I think Kaori is easily still going to win this weekend in Tokyo. In 2 golds, she'll be instantly qualifying for that Grand Prix final, and we will see her there. Do I think she's going to skate 2 clean programs? I don't know. I think she might make like 1 or 2 mistakes, but it'll still be enough to win. Rion Sumiyoshi is another skater who is in the conversation for getting that Grand Prix final. She's also in a tight spot because 3rd place is good, but 3rd place is not a guarantee to the Grand Prix final as well. She will be at the Cup of China, which is the final event of the Grand Prix. And she is up against Amber, she is up against Rinka, she's up against Monet, she's up against Cheon. Like, that competition is honestly probably going to be very stacked. So I don't know. She's kind of another one that I think might end up not at the Grand Prix final, because as of right now, Wakaba is in, Kaori's a lock. I think Reno is all but in. That's already 3. That's already 3 skaters. So let's talk really quick about Monet. Monet, I think, could absolutely be there. I think she's a solid silver medal at NHK Trophy bearing disaster, but she is at Cup of China, which is going to be tough. So if I could now say who I think is going to be at the Grand Prix final, I would say, obviously, Wakaba is in, Kaori Sakamoto, Rinko Watanabe, Rino Matsuike, Amber Glenn, and Rion Sumiyoshi. Because I think there's going to be some ties, and I'm not looking at their total scores right now. When it comes to, like, a tie, it always goes to which first, like, what's your highest ranking at a competition. So if someone, let's say they got 1st and 4th, they would tie with someone points-wise who got 2nd and 3rd, but the person who ended up with 1st and 4th would break that tie because they had a 1st place. Now, let's say there are 2 people who got a silver and a bronze. They would obviously tie twice because they would have the same amount of points for getting 2nd and 3rd, and then there would be no tiebreaker used when it comes to their placement because they both had 2nd and 3rd, so it would move on to their total scores, and whoever has the highest total score would then go to the Grand Prix final. So it's definitely, it's going to be a process to figure out, but if I could put my finger on it, I would say more than likely it'll be Rion Sumiyoshi. I think Hana is a beautiful skater, but I think Rion at this point has a little bit more of a potential to get there. Although Hana is in a much more, I think, light event of Finlandia Trophy. Like, she could honestly win it. If she does, that'll be a Grand Prix for her. So it's gonna be interesting. But yeah, my final thoughts are going to be Wakaba, Kaori, Rinko Watanabe, Rino Matsuike, and Rion Sumiyoshi. 5 Japanese skaters and Amber Glenn. Which will still be an interesting event because honestly, even though we would only have one US woman, she could win it. Honestly, like if she goes out and she skates even remotely the way that she skated at Grand Prix de France, I think she can beat out Kaori here. So Chaeyoung Kim was someone I thought was going to be a lock for the Grand Prix final as well, but she came in 4th in Grand Prix de France because it was a very stacked event. Again, she would have won Skate America if she was there, or gotten silver in Skate Canada if she was there, but because she was at Grand Prix de France, that was just much more competitive than the other two. She ended up in 4th place. She is at Cup of China as well, which is very, very stacked. If she wins, which she obviously could do if she goes out and skates 2 clean programs, I think that, 1st and 4th could still get her to the Grand Prix final. But I don't think she'll get there. I think Chaeyeon, when she skates clean, she will win if she is the only one who skates clean, because she definitely lacks a lot of the things that Japanese and the US skaters have, like the performance quality, the skating skills. She is very good, and she's probably still the most likely to go out and skate clean. However, I think she just is probably going to end up falling flat there because of how stacked it is. I could see her even off the podium here. I mean, all 3 Japanese skaters that are skating there are really strong, and you've also got Amber Glenn there, who is probably going to go and skate really well as well. So, oh my goodness, this turned out to be so much more interesting than I was expecting. Although I was still thinking it was going to be interesting, I did not expect the women's events to go quite like this. I'm going to have even more thoughts after NHK Trophy, because NHK Trophy has Lindsay Thorngren, who we haven't seen yet, Monet Chiba, who we haven't seen yet. Yuna Aoki could, spoil and be on the podium there as well, but she came in 7th at Skate America, so it's just for her own self-confidence. Same with Alyssa Liu and Brady Tennell. I think when it comes to NHK Trophy, I think what we're looking at there is a USA Japanese top 6. I just don't really know how it's gonna go. I would love to see some US representation on the podium there. It's gonna be Kaori winning. I don't if Amber were here, I think she could challenge Kaori, but I don't think there's anyone here who's really gonna challenge Kaori to win, unless Kaori really even takes a step back from Skate Canada, which I don't see really happening. I still don't like her free skate. I really want her to change her free skate, but I think what's done is done. I think she's sticking with it till the end, so we'll see. But that is my prediction on women, which, like I said, is going to be what I spent the most time on because it's been the most interesting. Oh my gosh, I spent 30 minutes on it. All right, let's move on to the men. Men, I'm not going to be nearly as detailed in that because, well, I don't have as many thoughts about the men. The men have been menning this season. They have just been a mess. I don't even want to touch talking about the men at the Grand Prix de France with the 10-foot pole because that was actually not good to watch. Okay, so first things first. Obviously, first of all, congratulations, Ilya Malinin, who is going to the Grand Prix final. He got 2 first places. He's going. He's good to go. He's going to win the Grand Prix final. He's going to win nationals. He's probably going to win worlds, barring disaster. So he's going. He's good to go. He did back-to-back competitions, got them out of the way, and he's done. He's booked his ticket. Outside of Ilya, so the only other gold medal now is Adam Xiao Him Fa from last weekend, which just for reference, so Adam Xiao Him Fa scored 246.58. That was enough to win the gold medal here. For reference, Ilya scored at Skate America, which was his lower scoring event, 290. 290. That was his lower scoring event where he scored 290. Adam Xiao-Him-Fa scored 246. At Skate Canada, Ilya scored 301. Okay. Also, for reference, Adam's score at Skate Canada would have had him in 5th place, and at Skate America would have had him in 6th place. So, I don't know what's going on with Adam Xiao-Him-Fa. I think that obviously he's probably still going to go to the Grand Prix final because I like to hope that he will be skating much better at his next event, which is the Cup of China, so he's not going again until the end. But yeah, that was pretty tough. So Ilya's a lock. We're not going to have any other U.S. men because Jason finished in 8th at Skate Canada. So even if he showed up and won at this weekend in Tokyo, which is not going to happen because he's up against Yuma Kagiyama, he is not going to the Grand Prix final. Camden had a very rough time at Grand Prix de France. Maxim Naumov, Lucas Brochard, none of them have skated well enough to be even a contender if they were to win their next event. Andrew Torgashev got bronze at Grand Prix de France just because of how terrible of an event it was. He is assigned this weekend as well, but I don't expect him to have the same success that he did because this is going to be a much more competitive event. So Ilya is probably going to be the only U.S. skater at the Grand Prix final, but he will win. I think Adam is still fine. He's still going to go because he does have that 15 points. I really don't know who else is going to go. So from Skate America, we had Kevin Amos and Kao Miura, who were 2nd and 3rd respectively. Kevin Amos will be in Finlandia. He skated really great at Skate America. Is he going to recreate that magic at Finlandia, or is he going to be an absolute disaster? I don't know. We will see. He's also up against Yuma Kagiyama. If he were to win silver at Finlandia, he will go to the Grand Prix final. I think he definitely is capable of. Kevin is definitely on my radar to go to the Grand Prix final. I just don't know what he's going to do at Finlandia. I really don't. I hope he skates the way he did at Skate America, but yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen. 3rd place at Skate America was Kao Miura, who is competing this weekend, so he'll need to win a 1st place to go to the Grand Prix final. He'll need a 2nd to have a hope of going to the Grand Prix final. I don't think he's going to win. He's up against Yuma Kagiyama, but I think that he can definitely pull off a silver medal here, so we will see if he can manage to qualify for the Grand Prix final that way. Yuma Kagiyama, to me, is someone who's absolutely going to the Grand Prix final. I just haven't seen him yet. He is competing back-to-back at Tokyo this weekend and Finlandia the next. Is he going to be affected by the fact that he's competing back-to-back competitions in 2 different continents? Absolutely, but I think he still will be A-okay and will be the 3rd Grand Prix final qualifier behind Ilya and Adam. Well, I think he'll qualify ahead of Adam because of scores. Outside of that, I don't really know. Koshiro Shimada was the silver medalist in France, but he was 6th at Skate America, so he is not qualifying. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to make a full prediction on men because I don't know what's going to happen. Ilya, Adam, and Yuma will absolutely all go. From there, there's just a bunch of question marks. I think Kevin definitely has stated his claim for it. I think Shun Sato has as well. Shun Sato finished 2nd at Skate Canada. He is at Cup of China where he is up against Adam Xiao-Him-Fa. Oh, Shun could win that. Another skater we haven't seen yet is Matteo Rizzo, who could go. We also haven't seen Daniel Grassel, who's competing this weekend. I think there's just too many names, and there's too many people who still haven't competed yet. I think Ilya, Adam, and Yuma will go. They are the reigning medalists from Worlds, and I think the rest is really up in the air. I really can't make a prediction on that. So let's talk next about ice dance, because ice dance is probably the easiest to predict for me. In fact, I'm just gonna say it. I know the 6 people that will be at the Grand Prix final. It is going to be, in no particular order, Piper Gills and Paul Poirier, Madison Chalk and Evan Bates, Charlene Guinard and Marco Fabry, Lila Fear and Lewis Gibson, Marjorie Lahoy and Zachary Laha? I don't know French names. And Yevgenia Lopareva and Jeffrey Brassard. There is quite literally no other, if something like outside of that happens, I will be shocked, which ice dance has been shocking all season. We had Madison Chalk and Evan Bates win the silver at Skate America instead of gold because of the fall in the rhythm dance. I'm excited to see them at NHK Trophy this weekend in Tokyo because I would like to see what they score without that fall. We had Charlene Guinard and Marco Fabri, the reigning world bronze medalists, fall in the free dance, and they fell on a leveled step sequence. So they missed out on a lot of points and ended up getting the silver medal behind the French there. Piper Gills and Paul Poirier had a great skate at Skate Canada. They are going to win their second event, which is Finlandia Trophy. Marjorie Lahoy and Zachary Laha were second at Skate Canada. I think they will get second again at Cup of China behind the Italians, who I think will be just fine. The only team that I think, the French team, La Pareva and Brissard, they did finish third in Skate Canada, but they got gold in Grand Prix de France. So even if, like, let's say Christina Carrera and Anthony Ponomarenko, who we haven't seen yet, get silver at both their events, which could happen, absolutely, they would lose the tiebreaker because second is 26 points, first and third is 26 points, but because they would have no first place while the French did, the French would go to the Grand Prix final. So that's the 6 that's going to go. I don't see that changing at all. It's been a very interesting season because we've seen 2 of our top 3 teams make big mistakes and not win their events, which is just so unlike ice dance and makes it very interesting. But they are that's the 6 that are heading to the Grand Prix final. I'm not really going to say anything else on that because ice dance is still kind of boring, although it's been exciting this season because people are making mistakes when they never do. It's been interesting, but those are your 6 that are going. That's easy to say right now, that nothing's going to change that unless something wild happens. Like, I don't know, the Italians fall again and end up third at Cup of China. That would be kind of crazy, but, stranger things have happened. So that's my predictions for the Grand Prix final for ice dance. I don't have much else to say. That's going to be that. Okay, finally, the pairs. Now, the pairs has a lot going on, but I think I've narrowed down who the Grand Prix finalists are going to be just based off of the first half. So first we have Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara. They will make it to the Grand Prix final. They are competing again this weekend, and I think they will easily win this one as well. Ellie Kim and Danny O'Shea, who won the silver at Skate America. I am very hopeful that they are continuing to get that consistency under their belts and skate even better this weekend. They are also at NHK Trophy in Tokyo this weekend. I think that they have silver pretty locked in. They're the only ones I'm just a little bit more nervous about. I don't know if Skate America was a fluke or if it was just a step in the right direction, but I am hopeful that it is the latter and that they will win the silver medal here, which would book their ticket to the Grand Prix final, which would be great. I would love to see that. We also have Deanna Stellato-Dudek and Maxime Deschamps, who did not have a great free skate at all at Skate Canada, but they still won the gold. They will be in Finlandia Trophy. They will probably win that as well, and they will head to the Grand Prix final, so that's 3 teams. Our 4th team, I believe, is going to be Minerva Fabian Hasse and Nikita Volodin from Germany. They won the Grand Prix de France easily, and they will be at Cup of China, where I personally think they will win once again, and I think they will be headed to the Grand Prix final as my number 4, although they won't qualify in 4th. They'll probably qualify in 2nd or something, because I think they will have 2 golds. I think number 5 will be Sarah Conti and Niccolò Macci from Italy. They finished 2nd at Grand Prix de France. I think they will finish 2nd again in Cup of China. And then as far as that 6th spot goes, I don't know. I think it'll be the Australians, probably. Because unfortunately, the bronze medalists from Skate America, Alyssa Efimova and Misha Mitrofanov, who I was very excited about, they did not have as good of a skate at France, and they ended up in 4th place. So they are out of the running. A 3rd and a 4th is definitely not going to be enough. The silver medalists from the pairs event at Skate Canada ended up 6th at the Grand Prix de France. So they are out of the running as well, which means right now we're looking at 3rd place finishers in Skate Canada, the Australians Anastasia Golubeva and Hector Giotopoulos Moore, and the bronze medalists in Grand Prix de France, Rebecca Gilardi and Filippo Ambrosini from Italy. The Australians will be competing up against the Canadian reigning world champions in the Finlandia Trophy, as well as the Hungarians. Oh, and the Italians. Okay. So, yeah, I think that will decide our sixth and final spot. I don't know. Let me look at their scores. So, the Australians scored a 186. The Italians scored a 176, so obviously that puts the Australians a little bit ahead of them. But I think that'll be it. Obviously, with pairs, a lot of things can happen. You know, if Ellie and Danny somehow kind of struggle here, which I hope they don't, I really want them to skate well, get that silver medal, and head to the Grand Prix final. Would love to see them there. But anything can happen. That's kind of my expectations moving forward with pairs. Okay, but that's about it for today's episode. I just wanted to do a quick check-in on the halfway mark. Things have very much not gone the way I expected, but I am looking forward to seeing how the rest of the season goes. Like I said, I think I will be able to watch all three events from start to finish. Not live because I'm not pulling 2 all-nighters in a row for Japan and China, but I will be able to go back and watch because I don't really have anything planned for the next few weekends. It's going to be an exciting last few weeks. I think next weekend is really going to be telling on how that Grand Prix final is going to go in a lot of cases. So it's going to be an exciting rest of the season. I'm excited to see what happens there as well as at the Grand Prix final and onwards. But that is it for today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to download the podcast and leave me a review on what your thoughts are on this podcast. You can also follow me on social media on X at Hannah Skates96. That's HANA Skates96. Or if you're interested in any cosplay stuff, I am Looking Nerdy on Instagram. With that, thank you so much for listening in, and I will see you all hopefully next week.